Perfection and playoff implications on the line. Week 15 in the NFL. A run at history that's been amazing. Is it over? Huge comeback by Peyton and company, but can they hang on against the Bolts? What a game this was. Bitter rivalry in the NFC East. Cowboys, Skids. Last one went down to the wire. What about this one? Seahawks cruising to a first-round bye. Titans playing a tough tune in the Music City. The AFC North is at its fingertip. Would the Bengals suffer a big letdown in Detroit? And must win for both Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Whose playoff hopes took a huge hit? Primetime coming up.
Is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to NFL Primetime with Tom Jackson. We've been doing this for 19 years, this show. And, yeah, we're excited to show you the action. But there are other Primetimes, Tom, that, like this one, there haven't been as many like this, that you know it was a special Sunday.
Yeah, a special Sunday, lots of playoff implications. And I'm proud of the integrity of this league the deeper we go into the season.
Yes, it took till the Sunday before Christmas to answer the question, would a team match these 72 Dolphins that go undefeated? We're going to dwell on this, obviously, all throughout the show very quickly. If you missed it, let's show you what happened. Peyton Manning and the Colts were down 10-0 to the Chargers. Sean Merriman has suggested this morning was huge. The Charger defense packed a wallop. They actually led it 16-0, now 16-10, but here come the Colts. Brackus made a defensive play, then Dwight Freeney forces a fumble, and Monte Rager is there, enabling the Colts on 3rd and goal to have Peyton Manning in the final minute of the third quarter hit Dallas Clark, and the Colts have come from behind, and they lead it 17-16. Drew Brees, after Keenan McCardell inexplicably caught a punt at the 2. To McCardell, who more than makes up for it, 54 yards deep into the secondary, setting up 49 yards. You remember the playoffs last year? Well, Nate Kading, a different story today. Bang, was good from 60. Chargers lead 19-17, a 49-yarder. On 3rd and 21, Luis Castillo, the other number 1 pick, Merriman and Castillo, 2 number 1 picks by A.J. Smith, puts him out of field goal range with the sack. It's a punt. L.T. Hurd. But Michael Turner, the burner from Northern Illinois, Bachman Turner into overdrive. He takes care of business. Could go all the way. 83 yards. Extra point good. Chargers by 9. Can the Colts, in 2 minutes, get 2 scores? Out of the hands of Brandon Stokely, into the hands of Quentin Jammer. And the Indianapolis Colts run ends at 13-0. The San Diego Chargers, a team that took them to overtime on this field last year, now has another charge back by the Colts, but withstands it and wins 26-17. A historical game by all sorts of rights, and even though the Colts deeply disappointed at losing any game, maybe, just maybe, a slight sigh.
That wasn't such a big deal, but it's disappointing the way we lost. We didn't want to lose at home. This is an outstanding team. They played us right down to the wire last year, and they've got some work to do to get in the playoffs, but if they get in, they're going to be very formidable. I don't think anyone's going to want to play them.
It would be a nice, little thing on the edge of it, but we all know what they're after.
It was a fun streak, and no one wanted it to end. We certainly, I don't think we were unemotional. I mean, we tried. Our guys came back and played hard and got the lead after being down 16 points. It's just a game that didn't work out for us today.
Well, a little aside first on Marty Schottenheimer. He's had a wonderful career. Maybe not he ever gets a chance to get and win in Super Bowl, but he's got this on his mantelpiece. Now, for Tony Dungy and the Indianapolis Colts, to go 13, we're reminded how special that is and how you have to bring that intensity and how on this day, do you think, Tom, it's a It's a blessing in disguise. In about a week, it's not a good week into Christmas, but maybe New Year's week they'll feel differently.
Boom, I spent some time with them this week, and I know how badly both the players and the coaches wanted this. But I think that as you look at this, and we'll talk about this a lot during the course of the show, I think it is a blessing in disguise in the sense that now you can get back to the business of getting ready to try to win the Super Bowl, which I think is the first and foremost goal that Tony Dungy had. And I also want to add that both of those coaches, Marty Schottenheimer, Tony Dungy, two guys that I really admire. And you can see why just listening to them right there.
Well, you know what, and we will say this, that Mike Ditka, who we work with, who was a team that was 12-0 and lost to the Miami Dolphins in 1985, went on to win the Super Bowl, said, the Dolphins, when they beat us, we didn't realize it at the time because the next couple of weeks it wasn't great games. They did us a big favor.
That's correct.
So we'll see if that repeats. You're wondering, it's NFL Primetime. Where's that? We have the double-cut Chateaubriand prime cut version of this highlight a little bit later on in the show. We'll be talking plenty of, we'll hear from plenty of the principals, including Coach Shula, actually, when we return on a special edition of NFL Primetime. Can the Jags keep moving toward the playoffs and fell the Niners? And big game in Minnesota, Big Ben. Would it be one for the thumb for Pittsburgh, kinda? We'll explain.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller. There's good enough, and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call. And in part by Chevrolet, an American Revolution. Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Here we go on Primetime with the Jets. The Dolphins. Jets have had Miami's number, beat him earlier this year, but Herm Edwards' squad trying to avoid an 0-8 road skid this year. 10-10 third quarter. Brooks Bollinger played well today, and have a holly jolly Christmas. It's Doug Jolly in the end zone. How about that? The Jets' longest play from scrimmage all year. They lead at 17-10. But Ricky Williams, a holistic run, 23 yards, ties it at 17 early in the fourth quarter. Then, Sage Rosenfeld. Yes, he's into Marty Booker. As Farrat knocked out, Drew Rosenhaus throws that to Booker. Touchdown, 24-17. Bollinger on 4th and 13 with the Jets down 24-20. To Jericho Constry, pass interference. Reggie Howard, Nick Saban. What the hell's going on out there? I don't think he's happy, Tom. So under a minute to go, the Jets have a chance at the 14. 4th and 5. Bollinger. And it's broken up by Jeremiah Bell. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. The Dolphins hold on to win 24-20. Bollinger threw for over 300 yards in the game, but Miami had 6 sacks, 3 for Jason Taylor. Zach Thomas, 11 tackles. Big picture. 7-7 for Nick Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban teams played hard, been competitive the entire year, and even though the Jets have faltered again and again and again, you certainly have to admire the way Herm Edwards' team plays every single week.
Miami's still alive for a playoff berth, although it would take a lot of things to happen. Well, team alive for the first draft pick, the Texans, and they're playing Kurt Warner and the Cardinals. So Warner actually completed a bunch of passes in a row, but Jason Babin came in and sacked him. 6 sacks by Houston today.
Wow.
Warner limps off the field, and so he goes out. McCown comes in. Later, Navarre would play, so Arizona had 3 quarterbacks today. Jonathan Wells, with Davis out, scores from 7. The Texans lead 7-3. With a score 10-7 in the second quarter. Vernon Morency. And Arizona wants clemency after this run. It's a touchdown. Morency's first of the season, 14-10 Texans. Then, down to the 3 goes Houston, and Wells scores again. Do you know that the Houston Texans scored 24 points in the second quarter? Team record. And for once, the Texans hold on to win 30-19, and so we can say, dime, 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 million down. A good job by Houston. Although they went for the second time, and Arizona falls to 4-10. But that Houston-San Francisco game at the end of the year going to settle the draft.
Yeah.
They're still trying.
Yeah, and I pay less attention to the stats. This is what I meant at the top of the show when I said I get awfully proud sometimes of the integrity of this league, the way teams have played today who didn't have necessarily a reason to play.
Like San Francisco, who's won once since opening day, and they're playing Jacksonville, who's beaten everybody the last 6-7 weeks except for the Colts. Alex Smith back in the starting role. David Garrard has done well as the Jacksonville starter for Byron Leftwich. Now, we know Garrard can do this, Tom. Look at this.
Yeah, we talked about that other dimension that he brings to the game, and there he is getting into the end zone.
7-3 Jags, 13-yard touchdown. It's now 7-6 Niners kicking field goals. Alex Smith to Johnny Morton. Deke Cooper lays a hit on him, and it's Trevor Morton jumps right up, and there's the hit. The Niners get a field goal. They're up 9-7. Now the Jags get Josh Scobie with a field goal, and now it's 10-9. But, I mean, the Niners are playing them for a 10-9 game in Jacksonville. Alex Smith, Deion Grant knocks it away. Alex Smith, I mean, they're going to be better days, but just watch some of the... Terry Cousin comes in, and I don't think he's next of kin, Tom. And then, under a minute to go, 4th and 8, the Niners still have a chance. Just a minute. Well, tough. Being a number 1 draft pick, and so much expected, they will be better days. But Jacksonville is now 10-4, although beating the Niners 10-9 is not necessarily the greatest job ever, but they won it. And they have 2 games against teams under 500 to finish out. Jimmy Smith passing Urban Fryer for 7th on the all-time reception list at 853. Been a classy player for a long, long time. When we return, as we said, plenty more from Indianapolis, where the Chargers, Drew Brees, McCardell and company, and the defense took aim at Peyton Manning. We'll have plenty of that. And the Seahawks, meanwhile, trying to make it 10 in a row in the NFC, but Tennessee had other ideas.
The Fantasy Ticker, brought to you by Chevrolet, an American Revolution.
4 years ago, this was the NFC Championship game. Philadelphia at St. Louis. Both teams, for a variety of reasons, suffering sub-500 season. Ryan Moats, rookie from
Louisiana Tech.
And boy, how hard does he run? Look at this. Moats just motoring on. 59 yards. Eagles lead at 7-3. Ryan Fitzpatrick against Mike McMahon. No, it's not St. Patrick's Day. Fitzpatrick from
Harvard
to Torrey Holt as a touchdown. The Rams lead at 10-7. Steven Jackson got to 1,000 yards, missed much of the second half because of a minor hip pointer. And so, could this be one of the last times we get to say it? He's been one of our favorites. Marshall Faulk, 12 yards, sets up a Jeff Wilkins field goal, 16-7 Rams. When Philly comes back, Akers field goal, 16-10. Mike McMahon, now he barely has room. Rams have him hemmed in. What? Throws to the long snapper, Mike Bartram. 2 catches, 2 TDs, and Philly, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. They win. They finally win one. Then St. Louis, 17-16. Moats ran for 78 yards. Some of the young Eagles try to impress the coach by playing hard down the stretch.
Yeah, McMahon and Moats, you can see, 15 to 28. They made the most of the yardage, both passing and running the football. And Marshall Faulk, what a great one he's been.
Yes, one of the best.
Watch that.
Browns had their heydays, and Kerry Collins, after being benched, back in the lineup. 2nd and 10, Raiders, second quarter. And you think Randy Moss was happy to see him? I think so. Wow, there you go. That's the way it was supposed to be all year. 28 yards between 3 defenders. Sebastian Janikowski, a shot blocked by Alvin McKinney, and the Browns take over, only needing a field goal, 7-6. So special teams at 3:15 to go, give them a chance. Derek Burgess, though, who's the former Eagles, in on another sack, 3rd and 3. But wait a minute, face mask penalty we saw it yesterday.
Yeah, yep.
And so the drive continues, and then Bill Dawson becomes, I think it's the family feud. It's good. And the Browns win it 9-7. I know that 5-9 is not anything to write home about, but already in Romeo Crennel's first year, more wins than last year for the Cleveland Browns with 2 games to go. And Charlie Fry looked pretty good, Tom.
Charlie Fry looking better and better as the weeks go by, and Romeo Crennel instilling the way he wants the Cleveland Browns to play. I think they will get it next year and be a much better football team.
Well, here's a team that gets it. The Seattle Seahawks and the NFC West champs hoping by the end of the night maybe to be the top seed for Mike Holmgren, but at least the win would get him a bye. And they're playing at Tennessee and running right, but back to the left is Sean Alexander with the cutback. And look at Alexander from his own 35 all the way down to the Tennessee 13, a 52-yard run. And then Alexander's ragtime marching band, 14-0 Seahawks, 24 touchdowns for Alexander. The NFL record, Priest Holmes 27. Antoine Odom blocks Josh Brown's field goal, who's going to be 17-0. Tom at the beginning of the second quarter. But this started Tennessee. Jared Payton, son of Walter. You know Jeff Fisher loves him, former teammate of Walter Payton. Touched that first TD last 10 quarters for the Titans. But all of a sudden, here's another team that says, wait a minute. Seattle, we're not that impressed. Steve McNair, bringing up memories of the old days. To Drew Bennett, the Titans would score 24 straight points on the Seahawks. Seattle trailing for the first time since last month. Matt Hasselbeck says, let's go to work. Down 24-14 to Bobby Ingram. And Ingram breaks free. And he could go 56 yards. Now first and goal, Seahawks. And has this guy been a story this year, Joe Juravich?
You know, I think you're right. Maybe the best free agent pickup of any team this year.
And it's 24-21. Chris Brown on 4th and 1 after they take a punt on 4th down and get it. But Jeff Fisher's second 4th down gamble, they don't get it. And now, guess who's going to get the ball? Whoop! Look at him cut back, Tom. Then look at him cut back. Sean Alexander, 33 yards. He had a $172 today. Then 3rd and goal, Hasselbeck to Darrell Jackson. First time he's played since week 4. There's some DBs were out for Seattle, but Jackson back is a big deal, and they worked hard. But the Seahawks have now won 10 in a row. The Seattle Seahawks, who play the Colts on Christmas Eve in the rain in Seattle, I'm already predicting it, have won 28-24, 3 touchdown passes, Hasselbeck. And on this day, it was a day that, I know you're going to boil it into Indianapolis as a bigger story, which we're going to get back to that story against San Diego, but Seattle, right, a big 14-0 lead. This is easy, and it wasn't so easy.
And 83-3 to 2 games previous to that, and people will say, well, they didn't play the kind of game that we'd like to see them play, but I think you need these kind of games before you get to the playoffs, where you go down by 10. Yes, they went up by 14. Looks like it's going to be an easy walk through the park, but now we're down by 10, but we show the ability to come back. I think that it refocuses you in terms of playing the tough kind of games you're going to have to play when you get to the playoffs. So I think that these kind of games, yes, you lead the conference, you got the best record in the conference, but you need to play games like this so you know that anybody on any day can beat you.
They know they have a bye, and if Chicago loses on Sunday night against Atlanta, Seattle will have the home field throughout the playoffs. And by the way, it could be the last home game for Steve McNair on a 300-yard day. Last game in Tennessee. We'll see how that pans out. We'll see if Steve wants to play, etc. But to say that he's had a marvelous career in Tennessee would be a huge understatement. When we return, Chargers, Colts. And the Colts defense trying to rally the offense on this one. Could the Colts come back and make it 14-0 against the Chargers team bent on the upset? And the Lions in their last game at home. Oh, boy. These is Skycam. Warwick, well done. And the Falcons at Soldier Field against the Bears. A real fine ball game at the bottom of the hour. Carolina Panthers in against Jim Haslett's Saints at their final game at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. These Saints are 0-3 in there, and with runs like this by Steve Smith, they wouldn't be feeling too good. Look at what? Smith, 20 yards. He's amazing. What a year he's had off the huge knee surgery. 7-0 Panthers. Aaron Brooks benched at starting quarterback. Todd Bauman takes his place. This is how Bauman's day went. Down 10-7, doink, and caught, and that's an interception.
Wow.
He was picked off 4 times, 6 Saint turnovers, more of the same. Now, Smith ate something bad last night, not a good stomach, so he was hurting for a while, but as you point out, Tom, maybe he made the Saints an upset stomach. Jake Delhomme with the slip. Boy, Steve Smith, it's a highlight reel every time we see him. And it's 27-10, and they go on to win it by that score. Only 32,000 listed. Look like a lot less than that. The Saints will get to play at least Christmas Eve at San Antonio next week. Carolina rushed for 161 yards. Now they're back on top by first in their division 10.
And I say this as they march to the playoffs. This is one of those teams. You look at the NFC, nobody wants to play this football team in the playoffs. You just don't know what you're going to get when you play this football.
But when you get their best.
When you get their best, they can beat anybody.
And we know that. Well, speaking of being able to beat anybody and everybody, the Indianapolis Colts at 13-0 were vying to become only the second team ever to win their first 14 games in a season, joining the 1972 the fabled undefeated Miami Dolphins. Now, last year, San Diego came into Indy, had a lead in the fourth quarter, and the Colts had to rally in overtime and beat them. But this year, the Colts were better. The Chargers are a desperate team. We've talked about it all year, history in the making. That's why, right here, this is not only a prime cut. This is Chateaubriand, butterfly, double fillet. You mentioned it, porterhouse. Peyton Manning and the Colts. Can they do it? Drew Brees and the Chargers came in confident, to say the least. Going for it on 4th down and 3. Brees to Eric Parker for a first down. Next play, Brees. A lot of short stuff, and then Keenan McCardell. He had time, Tom. Zip, that's beautiful, 7-0.
Great job there of looking the safety off at the beginning of that play. Look right, come back to your left.
So this is what the Chargers did against Edgerrin James. Nothing doing. 3-yard loss. 2nd down now. And Peyton Manning said, well, let's try to throw it. And here come the Chargers moving their linebackers, most notably Merriman around. Ball is tipped, intercepted by Drayton Florence. And Florence returns. But you figure 13-0, you get some breaks. It's a fumble. Colt ball going back the other way. San Diego figure, oh no, not again. We've done everything we can, and we don't even get the ball. But no, here comes Merriman, 56 and company. Merriman had 2 of the sacks today, and 2 sacks already by Manning. And then Peyton trying to run himself, and this is not what the Colts want.
No, you don't want to see Peyton outside the pocket getting hit.
And so they forced the punt. Ensuing possession, Chargers. Brees. He played his college ball not very far from Indianapolis. Obviously, Purdue had 49 yards. Derek Parker. Then LaDainian Tomlinson. Following the block of Lorenzo Neal off left guard. 12 yards, setting up a Kading field goal. 10-0 San Diego, first quarter. Now on to the second quarter. The Colts in the red zone. Sean Merriman. Did somebody mention him this morning, Tom?
I believe you did, Boom.
Yeah, he is tackled for a loss. Then Peyton Manning looked just out of rhythm. They looked out of rhythm. I mean, they're not in here. They're not. I mean, these things can happen. Now 3rd and goal. Manning to Wayne, complete, but no, it's just to the 1-yard line. 4th and goal. Down 10-0. The Colts go for it. Manning scrambling. Forget about it. Merriman slams him down. Chargers ball.
Yeah, and I think that you can see that the thought was this was going to be a running play. I believe Peyton Manning kept the ball on his own. You saw the lack of effort on the outside by Reggie Wayne, but that's because he thought it was a run inside.
Then Brees with 10-0 hits Antonio Gates on 3rd down. Underneath the Gates again on 3rd down for another first down play. Same drive. Tomlinson. And this is not a fumble. It's the helmet off. Ball in hand. Down to the 1. Next play, Colts stack up LT. Next play, it's 3rd and goal. And Brees scrambling. And it's over the head of Antonio Gates. So field goal, defense holds 13-0 at the half. An 18-play drive lasting over 8 minutes. 3rd quarter. Manning sacked by Merriman.
Did you see Sean Merriman power rush over the guard, just push his way to Peyton Manning? LT type day for Sean Merriman.
Well, and now it's Michael Turner playing for LT. Runs it right for 17 yards. Michael Turner, the burner from Northern Illinois. Lorenzo Neal, short stuff. Everybody confident. 9 yards by the fullback. Field goal good. 16-0 San Diego. With the score 16-3, here comes the Colts defense. Gary Brackett, so key in calling the defensive signals for Indianapolis, makes the pick and returns it all the way to the 26-yard line. Then Manning, right to work. Flushed out a little. Look at the zing on the ball to Marvin Harrison. Makes the turn down to the 1. Next play, Edgerrin James, who we should point out had just 25 yards rushing, but there's one of them. Touchdown, 16-10. Colts defensive players in. Come on now. Here's Bob Sanders and company. Give us another chance. Well, on 3rd and 13, 93. Spin, sack. Dwight Freeney. Fumble! Monty Rager falls on it for the Colts. And again, within the span of a couple of minutes, the defense has made the big plays. Third down. Manning. Dallas Clark. Touchdown. They've done it again. They've come from behind against the Chargers 17-16. And you figure momentum, Tom, all Indianapolis. But on 3rd and 9, McCardell inexplicably caught the punt at the 1, but makes up for it here. 54 yards, a great throw by Breeze.
Yeah, take another look at this. Jason David and the safety Bob Sanders, both head in the backfield. Keenan McCardell down the sideline. Quarterback Drew Brees bought a little extra time, delivered the ball long.
Then Nate Kading, 49-yard field goal. Would have been good from 60. 19-17. The Lightning Bolts are back on top. Ensuing kickoff. Dominic Rhodes makes the cut. Smack. Fumble. Terrence Winged Keel falls on it. And there's Marty Schottenheimer. The job of the special teams is to make the big hit. And ensuing Charger drive. Breeze. 6 minutes to go. Looking for the big finish. But it's Nick Harper for the Colts that picks off the slight overthrow. And Peyton Manning in business. Under pressure again. Foley coming. Castillo coming. Merriman coming. Moving guys around. A 10-yard penalty for intentional grounding. There's the other number 1 pick, Luis Castillo, on 3rd and 21. So instead of a long field goal, which they tried earlier in the game, Colts decide to punt. LT on the sidelines, so you figure, who's going to run it? Michael Turner overdrive. Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. You ain't seen nothing yet. Touchdown, Turner. 83 yards, 26-17, San Diego. 2 minutes to go. Manning to Dallas Clark, the tough tight end from Iowa. 36 yards. Same drive. Manning. Rolling right. Pass goes off the hands of Brandon Stokely into the hands of Quentin Jammer, and it does it. Mama said there would be, at least for the Colts, days like this, I guess. Not days like this, days like this. But on this day, the San Diego Chargers came into Indianapolis and exhibited to the Colts, we're going to outthink you for a little bit, we're going to overpower you for a little bit, and even though we're going to take your best shot, we're going to come in and win the game. And so the amazing run by Indianapolis, winning their first 13 games, is done. 26-17 loss to San Diego. Classy. Tony Dungy after the game.
It's tough to go 16-0, and you play a lot of good teams, and you have to be at your best every week. And these guys came in and outplayed us, and that, that's going to happen sometimes. So, yeah, you have an appreciation for it, and we couldn't quite pull it off.
It was an emotional game, I think, for both teams, and we had the same approach we do every week in trying to win. And it's disappointing when you don't accomplish your goal. But I really give San Diego credit for playing better than us.
Our guys wanted to stay undefeated. They wanted to go 16-0, and we certainly didn't want to lose at home. We practiced well this week. I think these guys just outplayed us today.
There's some things that we need to improve and get better, and hopefully this can make us a better team for our playoff run.
Well, look, on this day, and we've talked about the improvement of the Colts defense. The offense most days needs no improvement. The Chargers had over 450 yards. They rushed for over 200 yards. Turner with the big run at the end of the game. Passing yards, almost 250. So all this such huge advantages over what the Colts have been averaging, allowing, and of course 26 points versus 14 points a game. And guess what? It took till the Sunday before Christmas, but the Indianapolis Colts finally lost the game. Now look, we heard Peyton, and you knew that was first. You say, well, we need to look. He's not kidding.
No.
What will the Colts, who now, like I said before, Tom, I think Christmas week will be a little down, but New Year's week, when they're a week away from this, it's okay, because we're going back to work. What will they learn from this game?
Well, I think first we look at the XO factor. Certainly they didn't run the ball the way they would like to run the ball. 15 carries for 24 yards made them a one-dimensional football team and allowed the San Diego Chargers to put a lot of pressure on Peyton Manning. But I think when you look underneath, the storyline is this. This team clinched home field advantage a week ago. but they had to play basically a playoff game today. I think they were looking forward to 2 more games like that against the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals before they could ever get to the playoffs. And when I said earlier in the show, a blessing in disguise, I think that now you can get to the business of getting ready to go to the playoffs and attempt to get to the Super Bowl. If you watch the way Peyton Manning was hit today, 4 sacks and numerous knockdowns, how comfortable would you be as a coach watching that? And I think at the end of the game, when he pulled his team together right here, you were already seeing him start to talk to them about the fact that, yes, we lost this football game, but we have bigger goals in mind. And they ended it like professionals, very classy, 2 pretty good plays at the end of the game. But now the pressure is off of them for the regular season. Now you earn the right to take advantage of the rest that you need to get ready for the playoffs.
At Seattle, Christmas Eve, home to Arizona, then a bye, and then we'll see against the lowest seeded team that is left. And look, the Indianapolis Colts, yes, by the way, if they end up going 18-1 or 17-2, but they've won the 3 games in January, that was the goal. But history remains untouched, and the 1972 season, authored by Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins, 17-0, remains the only team to start and finish winning every game they play. Shula today.
Bob Greasy and I watched the game together, and we didn't have any champagne to toast each other, but we did have some Diet Cokes up there. and we lifted the Diet Coke. And I'm just really so proud of the accomplishment of our football team a long time ago. And we've been accused of being angry old men, but you can see we're smiling, happy young guys, really is what we are.
Well, what wasn't there, okay, was the first thing that Shula said, and Bob Greasy, and I want to congratulate Bill Poley and Tony Dungy, as do we, by the way, Peyton Manning, all the Colts. I know firsthand how hard it is to win 13 games in a row, and their run is truly remarkable. And Shula's been quite quotable, and so have the Dolphins, like Greasy, etc. We've enjoyed watching this team. But they had the Diet Cokes. We do it here every year.
Every year.
And the Dolphins will get... There it is. And we uncorked the champagne and toast both the Dolphins of 72 and the 2005 Indianapolis Colts for giving us the best story that you could have in any regular season, chasing history as they've done. Now they chase the Vince Lombardi Trophy. They get back to the business at hand. When we return on this edition of NFL Primetime, the Cowboys and the Redskins chasing a playoff berth was supposed to be a showdown, maybe not. And the Steelers and Vikings, this a showdown as well in Minneapolis. Pittsburgh smiling.
Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. With Visa's multiple layers of security, you're covered.
Welcome back on Primetime. The Minnesota Vikings 6-game winning streak, remarkable when you consider what they've been through. The Pittsburgh Steelers stopped their losing streak last week by beating the Bears. 2 8-5 teams playing at the Homer Dome. They haven't played there, these 2 teams, since Chuck Noll was coaching Pittsburgh. Mike Tice and the Vikings, Brad Johnson, boy, have they reeled off an impressive winning streak. But 10 first-half penalties. That's Bryant McKinney, one of those names this week. And
maybe they were unfocused.
Theatric Faison at the 1-yard line on 3rd down. Stuff. There's Ferrier. There's Palomalu. There's foot. There's Porter. There's ankle. There's knee. There's arm. There's leg. And it holds him to a field goal. Brad Johnson tries to shovel pass, and it's intercepted from the backside by Joey Porter. Off of Corin Robinson, and it remains 3-3. So a high-scoring game, not the case. Meanwhile, Vikings punting, and Antoine Randall L. mid-second quarter. To the outside, and watch Chris Klug have none. And Randall L. somehow stays in bounds. 72-yard return, setting up excellent Steeler field position. 3rd and goal. Ben Roethlisberger playing with the injured thumb. Once upon a time, it was 1 for the thumb. This one, get in with the thumb. Touchdown, 10-3, Pittsburgh. The red zone problems for the Vikings today. Brad Johnson looking for the end zone, but ball floats. Deshae Townsend there. So 10-3 at the half. Problems continue. Viking field goal. Paul Edinger. Kick up. Block. Vikings 3 points, 4 trips in the red zone. Then the Steelers kicking off after they have a field goal, 13-3. Chantrick face a whack, loose ball. Kimo falls on the ball. Mike Tice not pleased. And the Vikings down 16-3, and this is what you want as a defense. 4 guys could have got credit, but Larry Foote and Joey Porter with a safety. Reminds me of the Super Bowl IX when Dwight White had a safety for the Steelers against the Vikings. 2-0 at the half. Steelers safety is the exclamation point on this game, and they win a big game by the count of 18-3, snapping the win streak of the Vikings. And Pittsburgh at Cleveland will be difficult and home to Detroit, but they certainly now have put themselves back into the thick of a playoff hunt.
Yeah, and the thing you don't see there, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 39 times that they were able to run the football, that's keeping Ben Roethlisberger to 15 throws, 10 completions. Those are the numbers that Coach Cowher will like.
And they had the ball 37 minutes in that game, so it was really domination. Now, Pittsburgh won early. The Bengals playing late. If they win the division. But the issue in Detroit, well, last home game this year, and they want it to be the... Now look at it. Matt Millen watches, and look, Matt's not happy. Matt was a great football player. It hasn't worked. They haven't won under interim coach Dick Duran after they fired Steve Mariucci, and Carson Palmer had a bad game last week. Look at that. Chad just here.
He didn't know what to do with it.
Here you go. I like it. Way to go, Chad. Very quickly, it's 17-0. Here's Carson to TJ. You say Houshmandzadeh.
I say Houshmandzadeh.
And now it's 30 touchdown passes this season for Carson Palmer. That's a franchise record. 2nd and 9 Lions. Now, we got to say this. Cincinnati picked off Minnesota 5 times, Chicago 5 times, Green Bay 5 times, and in this trip through the North Division, 3 times against the Lions. That's Delta O'Neal, his 10th of the year, and that's the congratulations to Marvin Lewis. In 1988 and 1981, 2 Super Bowl years for the Bengals, they were 12-4. Well, they have a chance to surpass it or at least tie it as Cincinnati sliced and diced the Detroit Lions. The Bengals have lost only once the last couple of months to the Indianapolis Colts, and Cincinnati with a head of steam. I know Detroit is Detroit, but with a head of steam. And congratulations, because there's a lot of garbage to sift through for Marvin Lewis over the years, and he's done that now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think that Coach Lewis has done a great job. He did it in the right way. He built this team around a very good quarterback in Carson Palmer. They're a team that has great balance. They're going to improve defensively. I think they get better every single week. Very opportunistic. He has instilled a certain confidence in that ball club and that organization, and I think it's going to be, the key. This is not a flash in the pan. This is going to be this way for the Cincinnati Bengals. As Chad Johnson said, get used to it, because it's going to be this way a long time.
Well, they're going to be the 3rd or the 2nd seed, depending on if they can catch Denver. But they got at least one home game coming up with the Bengals as chance. Look, they have the most turnovers. The turnover ratio is the best. They got a prolific offense. Who you give a short field to, you do the math. Congratulations to the Bengals. They've been fun to watch and will continue to be so. When we return, we have the battle of the NFCs, Bill Parcells and Joe Gibbs. I think they know a little bit about football. Who would know about winning this game today between 2 teams chasing the G-Men? Sunday Night Football, Michael Vick and the Atlanta Falcons chasing Carolina in their division will try to avoid the chase of Brian Urlacher. There's Lance Briggs and the tough Bear defense coming up on Sunday Night Football. Remember once upon a time, Brian Urlacher for the Lovington High School Wildcats in New Mexico was a receiver and safety. 1995, they were 14-0, but Urlacher always could hit, huh? As a safety, he was kind of a, quote, project when the Bears drafted him. He's a project to block, that's for sure. As for Michael Vick, there it is, of Warwick High in Newport News, Virginia. He threw for almost 5,000 yards and 43 touchdowns. Ran well, too.
Primetime Flashback, brought to you by NikeGridiron.com. You are watching NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
The Dallas Cowboys and Washington Redskins, one of the best rivalries in football. 2 teams looking up at the New York Football Giants, but 2 teams that still have a shot. and two coaches that know something about it, Bill Parcells and Joe Gibbs. Here we go. And up until that Monday night game in September, the Cowboys have beaten the Redskins 14 of 15 times, but not today. Drew Bledsoe pass deflected by Phillip Daniels, who was all over the field, picked off by Cornelius Griffin. Ensuing drive, Brunell to the H-back, Chris Cooley. Nice catch, and all of a sudden the Skins lead 7-0. Then Brunell goes to Robert Royal. And watch Keith Davis here. Boom.
Wow.
And it's incomplete. So Cowboys, Redskins, and certainly no strangers to the hard hits this rivalry. Brunell to Santana Moss. These two ruined Dallas in September. Look at that catch at the 1-yard line. Then 3 plays later to the 2. Dallas trying to make a goal line stand, but Brunell, this he can do. And Cooley in the back of the end zone. Touchdown. 14-0 Skids. Screen. Santana Moss. And he turns it up quickly. Whoop! Gets past them. And he's all the way down to the 3. Setting up Brunell to Mike Sellers. To Sellers market. 21-0. Bledsoe. Under pressure. Picked off by Marcus Washington. Returns it into Dallas territory. Drew Bledsoe in the last minute of the half sees a time to try to get back in the game a little, disappear. Brunell to Cooley. Cowboys. What kind of tackling is that? 28-0 the Redskins at the half. Under 2 minutes to go in the game. Very scary moment. Marco Rivera, the one-time Packer, lands on his head while making a block. Everybody quiet on the field. He was carted off. The good news is legs moving before he left the field, and now strained neck. He'll be reevaluated Monday, but certainly the news better than what you're seeing right there. And they'll know then if he's out for the season. Of course, this season's only a couple of games left. And so the Washington Redskins match the Cowboys at 8-6. Now, the bad news for these two teams, the Giants are 10-4, 2 ahead of them. Good news for Washington, they host the Giants next week. They still have a chance, and Dallas now's got to get going. A 35, that's a head-scratcher, because you know how thrilled Bill Parcells was after that last-second win against the Chiefs last week, Tom.
Yeah, outstanding game plan by Coach Gibbs, and almost, Dallas-like and Parcells-like when you look at it, the 40 carries, 40 rushes for 171 yards. 12 completions on 20 throws for Mark Brunell. So you're going to be accurate when you run the ball that well. Very opportunistic defense again, and this is the time of year you want to get it going. And I think Washington knows if they play well down the stretch, win all of their games, they give themselves a great chance to get into the playoffs. That's all you want.
They began with a 3-game winning streak, then went 2-6. Now they've won 3 in a row again. And they're all looking up at the Giants, but Washington hosts them next week. When we return, game balls on a historic day for the Chargers and Colts. And we'll look back at the Sunday before Christmas, 2005.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller. There's good enough, and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call. And in part by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. With Visa's multiple layers of security, you're protected.
Boomer, my game ball goes to Drew Brees. This was history-making stuff. 4 times in the history of football, teams have gone 13-0. He stopped the streak of the Colts. You look at the numbers there, they don't even matter. He won the football game. Congratulations to Drew Brees and the San Diego Chargers.
Well, and their defense won it as well. And Sean Merriman, one of the 2 first-round picks of the Chargers, was immense. 2 sacks, 7 tackles. He was moved all over the field. He is going to be a load for the next 6, 8 years, 10 years, the way he plays. So congratulations to the Chargers. But you know what? It's a week until Christmas, and for Tom and all of us here, look, we're football fans. To Bill Polian and Tony Dungy and Peyton Manning and all the Colts, thank you for the present that you gave us at 13-0. It was great. It was great. Great run. I know you're not done. For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Happy holidays, everybody.